Ladies and gentlemen, in just a few minutes, we will be transitioning to one of the annual meeting's marquee events, the financial presentation and the effectiveness report. This is a major event at the annual meetings, and we ask that you stay on. We should be beginning within 5 minutes. We're running just a little bit late, but we should be on track shortly.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Can you please leave the stage for the next panel to begin? Thank you. To the media, please, if you mind taking your interviews outside, the next panel is going to begin. Thank you. Please take your seats for the financial presentations.
Calls to action, high-level commitments, and celebrations were all part of the official opening ceremony held on day 3.
It is a great honor for Kenya to host the 59th meeting of the Africa Development Bank Group,
which then set a powerful tone for the day.
We are making a commitment of $20 million as Kenya into that meeting.
We've done well against the headwinds. I think we deserve a clap for Africa.
Next, the presidential dialogue carried on in front of a standing room-only crowd, and President Ruto of Kenya urged Africa to invest more in African institutions.
We can support more financial institutions, the Africa Development Bank, and all the other continental institutions to support Africa's development and progress.
The bank officially launched their 60th anniversary celebrations with a spectacle filled with spoken word, traditional singing, and what's a celebration without dancing? If you thought that was entertaining, wait to see what's in store for the actual anniversary.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly take your seats. We are about to proceed momentarily. Kindly take your seats. Honorable governors, ministers, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the African Development Bank Group's financial presentation and annual development effectiveness report, which really is a signature event at these annual meetings of the governors of the bank. My name is Victor Oladokun, and as always, it is an honor and a pleasure to moderate this very significant event. And it is one that provides a very good sense of the bank's financial and development impact over the preceding year, as well as significant achievements. To help set the stage following an overview by the Senior Vice President of the bank, there will be a Davos-style panel discussion which will provide all of our vice presidents, or most of them, with an opportunity to provide a synopsis of their stewardship. The composite picture that they do provide is designed to provide you with a very keen sense of the bank's many accomplishments over the previous year. With that being said, and given the limitations of time, please join me in welcoming to the podium the Senior Vice President of the African Development Bank Group, the one, the only, Swazi Shabalala, as she comes to provide a short opening speech. I know it's still very early in the morning, but I think we can do better. There we go. And I must say, you look wonderful, Ms. Chapalala.
He's such a charmer. Good morning, honorable governors, President Adesina, distinguished ladies and gentlemen and colleagues. Let me first of all start by expressing my sincere gratitude to the government of the Republic of Kenya for their hospitality in hosting us in this beautiful city of Nairobi, and their laudable support in the organization of these annual meetings, especially to His Excellency, Professor Ndungu, Chairperson of the Boards of Governors. Thank you very much. Honorable governors and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this staple event of the bank's annual meetings, the financial presentation and the African Development Effectiveness Review. It's an opportunity for management to share the bank's performance in the past year. As the continent navigates through challenging times, the results reflected in these reports underscore Africa's remarkable resilience. These development results represent a collective achievement delivered in collaboration and partnership with other multilateral development banks and development partners, and of course, our client countries. In this year's report, we've incorporated innovative tools and methods like satellite imagery to better capture and analyze the development impact of our investments. For instance, using high-resolution impact mapping, we were able to assess the impact of bank-financed water and sanitation projects on the living conditions of residents in 28 urban areas in Kenya. In responding to the desire of our shareholders for MDBs to work as a system, this year's report also provides the full development results of our co-finance projects, which allows us to demonstrate the bank's increased efforts in mobilizing and catalyzing other sources of finance, including from the private sector. As you will see from the upcoming presentation, the African Development Bank Group remains financially sound. Despite the lingering challenges of the pandemic and geopolitical tensions, the bank preserved its AAA rating, generated an historically high net income, and approved projects to the value of $10 billion, the second highest level of approval in its history. Following my intervention, my colleagues will present further details on the development impact of our operations and financial performance achieved in the past year. And of course, there will be a short video which will showcase some of these operations. Honorable governors, the bank has just released its 10-year strategy for the period 2024 to 2033. The new 10-year strategy reflects the priorities and most pressing needs of our regional member countries, and it is fully aligned with the SDGs and Agenda 2063 objectives. The strategy reflects the ambitions of the continent for the Africa we want, and comes during the year when the continental body is prioritizing making the Africa Continental Free Trade Area fully operational. The new 10-year strategy outlines the vision of an Africa that is prosperous, inclusive, resilient, and integrated, supported by twin strategic objectives: accelerating inclusive green growth in Africa and driving prosperous and resilient economies. To pursue these twin objectives, the bank has defined clear pathways for addressing Africa's pressing challenges and to help put the continent firmly back on track towards sustained economic growth and prosperity. The High Five operational priorities will continue to shape the implementation of the strategy as they continue to be aligned with the objectives of Agenda 2063 and the SDGs. The implementation of these priorities will be underpinned by the cross-cutting priorities which promote gender equality, investments in young people, responding to climate change, building resilience to shocks, conflicts, and fragility, and of course, strengthening economic governance. The strategy outlines the bank's response to the complex threats facing Africa and to the global and regional challenges, answering the call by the G20 for MDBs to reform to become better, bigger, and more efficient. The new strategy is clear about the need to scale up, individually and in partnership, in order to massify impact, to accelerate delivery, to address global and regional challenges, so that we can help Africa achieve its development objectives sustainably. In this regard, the bank will continue to adapt its operational model, simplify its business processes, and further collaborate with other MDBs to promote mutual reliance in areas such as procurement, diagnostic tools, and social and environmental safeguards. For instance, the bank is making progress in discussions with the World Bank towards mutual reliance, but more importantly, in pursuing joint programming in areas such as increasing access to electricity. The bank will also support member countries or regional member countries in establishing appropriate platforms for better coordination at country level. The bank is recognized for its leadership in financial innovations, implementing many of the recommendations of the G20 Capital Adequacy Framework. Our financial innovations, from the pioneering sustainable hybrid instrument issued in the first quarter of this year, balance sheet optimization, such as the room to run transactions on our sovereign and non-sovereign portfolios, and the progress we've made in partnership with the Inter-America Development Bank to advocate for the rechanneling of SDRs, demonstrate the potential of the ingenuity of our teams to mobilize resources for Africa. We will not stop here. We agree that more can and should be done to crowd in the private sector to address global and regional public goods. As a learning organization, the new TYS and MDB's reform provide an opportunity to rethink our processes, policies, and procedures to improve our delivery where many challenges remain. We are acutely aware that our ability to respond to the challenge to be better, bigger, and more efficient requires a rethinking of how we work. We will increasingly focus our means and resources to improve quality at entry, enhance forward planning, review our delivery approaches, including optimizing the organization of our project staff to ensure quality throughout the project cycle, and leveraging technology for our operational processes. We are assessing our staffing needs based on current and future business needs, particularly as we intend to scale up private sector operations. Your views, governors, and reflections during the governors' dialogue will guide management's engagement with the board of directors in this regard. The bank will define incentives for countries, private sector, bank staff to implement reforms and mobilize the necessary financial resources to support regional member countries. The bank will also provide appropriate institutional incentives to focus on outcomes and development impact across projects. We shall enhance our decentralization model through a more universal but tailored presence to better respond to the needs of our clients and to strengthen our dialogue with them. We are committed to fully resource compliance functions, including the full implementation of the Safeguard Strengthening Action Plan. I am pleased today to confirm that the updated Integrity Safeguard System policy will become effective tomorrow morning, following extensive communication to staff and our clients. Finally, honorable governors and distinguished guests, the African Development Bank is motivated to start implementing the new strategy. We recognize that we can achieve more by collaboration, mutual reliance, and combined efforts to massify our development impact. So I will end my remarks today with a popular proverb which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Well, at the AFDB, we want to do both. Go fast and go together. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much.
Well, as the saying goes, the taste of the pudding is always in the eating. And following that very compelling but succinct overview by Senior Vice President Swazi Shabalala, kindly turn your attention to the screens for a short Annual Development Effectiveness Report video presentation.
Africa continues to thrive despite a challenging environment of rising living costs, high borrowing rates, climate shocks, and persistent fragility. It is a continent of resilience and progress. For 60 years, the African Development Bank Group has been a beacon of hope and socio-economic progress, standing shoulder to shoulder with all African countries to overcome today's challenges and build a strong foundation for a brighter and prosperous future. In 2023, the bank continued to deliver impactful and far-reaching results in collaboration with its partners across the high 5 priorities. From bringing electricity to 2.4 million people, supporting the establishment of 34,000 agribusinesses, to improving sanitation services for 8 million people, the bank's work and projects are transforming lives across the continent. Infrastructure development remains the cornerstone of the bank's priorities, with over $44 billion invested in the past 7 years. For instance, the Nacala Corridor is linking Zambia and Malawi to the port in Mozambique, reducing travel times by 58% and significantly boosting regional connectivity. In West Africa, the bank is fostering a dynamic electric power market in Mano River Union countries, promoting sustainable power trade and reducing regional reliance on thermal power. In Kenya, the town's Sustainable Water Supply and Sanitation Program is providing crucial water security to rural communities, stimulating economic growth and strengthening climate resilience. These are not just numbers. They are real stories of impact. To ensure this is the case, we track our impact. In the past 8 years, this project has helped over 2 million individuals gain access to improved drinking water, leading to remarkable social progress, such as the 61% increase in youth employment in Chogoria in eastern Kenya. As we celebrate our 60th anniversary, we reflect on our journey. In this time, we've funded over 5,400 projects, representing an investment of $184 billion in Africa's development. Our results are evident. Our impact is measurable. You can explore our investments through our Map Africa platform, whose new features will transform how we measure our impact. Explore project details and track our progress on delivering the bank's new 10-year strategy. See the tangible impact of our work across the continent through our results management framework. From rural areas to towns, cities to countries, countries to regions, results can be obtained in one easily accessible portal. For more, dive into this year's annual Development Effectiveness Review or visit Map Africa to see how, together, we are shaping Africa's future, a future that is inclusive, resilient, integrated, and prosperous. The African Development Bank, Africa's Solutions Bank, making a difference.
Very succinct, very powerful. There's a lot that stands out there, but for me, $184 billion worth of investments over a 60-year period. Those are no small potatoes. Once again, let's give the management, present and past, of the African Development Bank a warm round of applause. The truth of the matter is that in leadership, we stand on the shoulders of those who have come before us. And the bank has had a historic season of very seasoned leaders who have helped bring us to this point. During the rest of the year and during the 60th anniversary celebrations, there will be opportunities to acknowledge the contributions of many of our leaders. As we hear these reports, again, let us keep them in mind, those who are still with us today, and in absentia, give them also a warm round of applause. So following that short video presentation, we will segue very quickly into a panel discussion with several key members of the bank's senior management team. Through their hard, challenging, but very impactful work, the bank is able to do what it does year on, year out. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the platform the Vice President of Finance, Hassatu Nsele. Please give her a warm round of applause. And she will be followed by the Vice President for Regional Development, Integration, and Business Delivery, Marie-Laure Akin Olugbade. And please also welcome to the platform the Vice President for Power, Energy, Climate Change, and Green Growth, Kevin Kariuki, who will be followed by the Vice President for Agriculture, Human and Social Development, Beth Dunford. And joining them on the platform will be Solomon Quainer, the Vice President for the Private Sector and Infrastructure, as well as Industrialization. Joining them also is Kevin Urama, the Vice President for Economic Governance and Knowledge Management, as well as the Chief Economist of the bank. And last, but certainly not the least, we will be joined by the Director of Development, Impact and Results, Armand Nzeyimana. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this panel discussion. You know, it's one thing to see and it's another thing to hear first-hand accounts of what has transpired over the last 1 year. And as I look at you on the platform, I get the feeling, I have a suspicion, that you're loaded with information. But given the limitations of time, I'm going to ask that we kindly keep our responses short and concise. Someone once said that the most basic of all human needs is to understand and to be understood, and that the best way to understand people is to listen. So we're here today to understand and to listen to you as you make your presentation. And it is my hope that as we listen intently to what our panelists have to share with us this morning, that we will gain very useful insights into the challenges, the opportunities, as well as the successes of the bank over the preceding year. I think it's only appropriate at this point that I go with my first question to Armand. It really is pretty exciting to see the latest edition of the bank's flagship publication, the African Development Effectiveness Review, which has been summarized pretty much in the video presentation and been talked about by the Senior Vice President. So I'm certain that along with many members of our audience today, myself included, there is a curiosity about how the bank measures success, the success of its interventions. So my question to you, Armand, is, as far as the bank is concerned, what does success really look like?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. So indeed, we are very pleased to use the opportunity of the annual meetings to share with shareholders, partners, key stakeholders, the progress that the bank is making in supporting the continent's development efforts. So going back to your question, Victor, how do we measure success? So the success at the African Development Bank is measured through the use of our results management framework, and we've mentioned it in the presentation, in the short video you've just seen. So this is an important corporate tool that assesses the bank's contribution to Africa's development priorities. This important tool was, in fact, recently recognized by the Center for Global Development.
It's your moment to blink and follow. Share the video, friends. You are watching TMTV Lagos. Visit our YouTube, subscribe to advertise with the TMTV. You can call upon the number you see there, 0721-440-380. You are looking for a house to rent in Diani, Kwale County, Kunda. You're looking for a house to rent for an apartment. You can call upon our numbers, or you want to advertise your houses around. Maybe you have a land, a plot that you want to sell. Call upon our numbers and we shall schedule a viewing moment together with you